Imagine a world where laws didn't mean justice, they meant suffering. A world where even the smallest mistake wasn't punished with a fine or prison, but with a slow, terrifying death. Today, we live in a time where laws are meant to protect us, but in the darkest chapters of history, those same laws were designed to break people. And what you're about to hear today isn't just strange, it's so disturbing that it's hard to believe humans ever did this to each other. Hidden in the pages of history are punishments so brutal, they weren't just meant to punish crime. They were meant to create fear. Fear so deep, it would control entire societies. Fear so powerful, it would silence anyone who dared to step out of line. From ancient empires like Rome and Persia, to the harsh systems of medieval Europe, one belief remained the same. The more painful the punishment, the stronger the control. But here's the question. Were these punishments only for criminals? Or did innocent people sometimes suffer the same horrific fate? What you're about to experience isn't just a history lesson. It's a journey into the darkest side of human nature. And the first punishment we're about to uncover was so cruel that people feared the punishment more than death itself. It was called scaphism, a method so horrifying, it turned the human body into its own prison. And what happened to those who suffered it is something you won't easily forget. Scaphism wasn't just a punishment. It was a nightmare designed to last for days. The victim would be trapped between two hollowed-out wooden boats, or sometimes inside a carved log, with only their head, hands, and feet exposed. At first, it didn't seem deadly. But that was the point. They were force-fed milk and honey, over and over again, until their body couldn't handle it anymore. Then, the same mixture was poured all over their exposed skin. What happened next was slow, and horrifying. The sweetness attracted insects. Flies, bees, and worse. They would begin to gather, crawling over the body, feeding, laying eggs. And because the victim was trapped, unable to move, unable to escape, they had no choice but to endure it. Day after day, under the burning sun, or in the damp stillness of marshlands, the human body would slowly begin to break down. Infections would spread. The skin would rot. And eventually, the person would die, not in minutes, but in days of unimaginable suffering. This wasn't just punishment. It was a message. A warning to anyone who dared to disobey. But scaphism wasn't the only method history created. In medieval Europe, another terrifying punishment waited for those accused of crimes, sometimes without any real proof. It was called the rack. A device that didn't kill you immediately, but made you wish it did. The victim's wrists and ankles were tied to rollers, and as the device was slowly turned, their body was stretched. At first, it was just pressure. Then pain. Then something far worse. You could hear it. The sound of joints dislocating. Ligaments tearing apart. Bones slowly pulling out of place. And the worst part? The executioners could stop at any moment. Not to save you, but to ask questions. To force confessions. To make you say anything, just to end the pain. And many did. Even if they were completely innocent. Because when pain reaches a certain level, truth no longer matters. Only survival does. These punishments weren't just about justice. They were about power. Control. Fear. But what's even more disturbing is this. Some of the most cruel punishments in history weren't just meant to hurt the body. They were designed to destroy the mind. Because sometimes, the most terrifying punishments weren't the ones that tore the body apart. They were the ones that slowly destroyed the mind. In ancient and medieval times, one of the most feared punishments was solitary confinement. But not the kind we know today. This was complete isolation. Dark, silent cells, where a person would be locked away for days, weeks, sometimes even years. No light. No human contact. No sound, except their own breathing. At first, it seemed survivable. But the human mind isn't built for that kind of emptiness. Days would blur together. Time would lose meaning. Thoughts would begin to echo, louder and louder, until they turned into something else. Hallucinations. Paranoia. Madness. Many prisoners didn't come out the same. Some forgot how to speak. Some lost their sense of reality completely. And some never made it out at all. But perhaps the most disturbing part of all this is that these punishments were not hidden. They were public. Executions, torture, suffering were turned into spectacles. Crowds would gather. People would watch. Some even cheered. Because fear wasn't enough on its own. It had to be seen. It had to be felt. It had to spread. These systems didn't just punish individuals. They controlled entire societies. They shaped behavior. Through terror. And when you look back at it now, it raises an uncomfortable question. How far can humans go, when power is placed above empathy? Because the truth is, these punishments weren't created by monsters. They were created by ordinary people who believed they were doing the right thing. And that's what makes history so unsettling. Not just what happened, but how easily it happened. So the next time you think about laws, justice, or power, remember this. The line between order and cruelty is thinner than we like to believe. And history has already shown us what happens when that line is crossed.